Hey, everyone, welcome to Only in Germany, the series where we expose the truly absurd situations you'll only find here. Today, prepare to scratch your head as we dive into 3 absurd cases. Why do toads seemingly get priority over kids' safety? How did a bridge's reports alone cost over 100,000 euros? And how 3 centimeters seem to be a threat. Alright, let's begin with a prime example of how absurd Germany can be sometimes, straight out of Krefeld. Imagine this. Just outside a school, children regularly have to cross a busy road. The speed limit there? A standard 50 kilometers per hour. For years, concerned parents and even local politicians have been fighting for a simple change, a 30 kilometers per hour speed limit in that specific zone. It's a no-brainer basically for child safety, and frankly, a minimal effort. But despite their efforts, it just hasn't happened. You thought this was the absurd part? Nope, we are just starting. City representatives have repeatedly claimed it wasn't possible. Why? Because it's a reserved road, they said, and for those, there are strict rules to be met. Now, let's just move up the road a mere 150 meters. Remember, we're still on that very same reserved road. And what do you think there is? You guessed it, as the title suggested. A speed limit for toads. From 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you can only drive 30 kilometers per hour there, specifically so those amphibians are protected. Now, here's the fun part. What seemingly wasn't possible for years for children's safety was suddenly made possible after a German TV format called Irrsinn put a spotlight on it. That show is actually part of my inspiration for this series. A big recommendation from my part if you also want to learn more about the truly bizarre side of German everyday life. Let's move on with the next topic, coming from the city of Peine. For years, there has been a dilapidated bridge. In fact, since 2013, the city knew about its massive problems, especially a heavy mold infestation. What do you do with a moldy wooden bridge? You hire experts, of course. Experts to figure out if you can rebuild it, or if it's just easier to construct a completely new one. But hold on. A report from one team of experts isn't enough, right? So, you get 2 reports. And because all good things come in threes, you need 3. All 3 of these initial reports stated the obvious. For economic reasons, the city should just build a brand new bridge. By this point, 43,000 euros had already been spent. But now is the time to build the bridge, right? Not so fast. The city still wasn't convinced. So, for another 105,000 euros, they received 4 additional reports that, shockingly, stated the exact same thing. Just build a new bridge. And that's precisely what happened. Remember, we started in 2013? Now, in 2025, the new bridge already had its anniversary, since it was finally finished in April 2024, for a total sum of 5.3 million euros. And now, for our final dose of Only in Germany absurdity, we head to the capital, Berlin. Prepare yourself, because this one is truly baffling too. Imagine you're Michael Neckel, proud owner of the Asian restaurant Papaya for 13 years. For over a decade, his customers have happily enjoyed their meals with fresh air at his charming outdoor tables. But then came 2015. The city, in its infinite wisdom, decided to change the rules. Suddenly, his previous 1 meter and 40 centimeters gap to the crosswalk was reduced to just 1 meter. Okay, a bit tight, but manageable. Then, in 2016, another new rule dropped like a bureaucratic bomb. The required space was now a mere 97 centimeters. And this is where we hit absurdity territory. Houston, we have a problem. Michael's tables were exactly 1 meter long. Meaning, he was a whole 3 centimeters over the limit. Michael, understandably, filed an objection. How could 3 tiny centimeters be a public threat? But to no avail. The city responded with a 5-page statement, explaining why those 3 centimeters were, indeed, 3 centimeters too much. It boiled down to a minimum required crosswalk width of 1 meter and 50 centimeters, a width apparently jeopardized by Michael's tables. To finally end this absurdity, Michael did what any rational person pushed to the brink would do. He grabbed a saw. and simply lopped off 3 centimeters from all his tables. Problem solved. Bureaucracy satisfied. Insanity achieved. And that is it for this episode of Only in Germany. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around to the very end. I truly appreciate your support and hope you've learned something new. If you like this content, consider liking and subscribing to not miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.